Jana Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So this evening we're reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is chapter number 8. It's entitled Attaining the Supreme. And we're reading the final verse of the chapter, text number 28. Vedeshu yagneshu tapasu chaiva Daneshu yat punya palam pradishtam Atyeti tat sarvam idam vaditva Yogi param stanam upaiti chadyam. We'll read it again. Huh? No, it's okay. Vedeshu yagneshu tapasu chaiva dhaneshu yat punya palam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam vaditva yogi param stanam upaiti chadyam. Translation: a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifice, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Purport. We'll read the purport from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This verse is the summation of the 7th and 8th chapters, which particularly deal with Krishna consciousness and devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of the spiritual master and undergo many austerities and penances while living under his care. A brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master, just like a servant. And he must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. He takes food only under the master's order. And if the master neglects to call the student for food that day, the student fasts. These are some of the Vedic principles for observing brahmacharya. It's quite a long purport. We'll go through it paragraph by paragraph. So, the 7th and 8th chapter. This is the beginning of the middle portion of the Bhagavad Gita. Right? The first 6 chapters are mainly talking about karma yoga. But chapters 7 to 12 are dealing with bhakti yoga more. So chapters 7 and 8, as Prabhupada says here, they particularly deal with devotional service. And Prabhupada begins talking about the Vedas because the verse was describing that if someone accepts the path of devotional service, he also gets the results from studying the Vedas. You may say, oh, have we studied the Vedas? Well, everything we're doing in Krishna consciousness is connected to the Vedas. Vedic knowledge was imparted into the heart of Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaye Adhikavaye Miyanti Atsurai. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord imparted the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Lord Brahma. Now the Vedas, we could call, this is actually what we call Shruti. There are divisions of spiritual knowledge. There is Shruti, and there is also Smriti. Shruti refers to the hearing process. Smriti is more remembering. So, some people only accept Shruti. They only accept the Vedas. And they say other things, like this Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not actually Shruti. It's not actually Vedas. The Vedas, there are 4 Vedas. There is the Atharva Veda, the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, and the Yajur Veda, right? So 4 Vedas. So Bhagavad Gita is from Mahabharata. Mahabharata is not Shruti, it's Smriti. So some people don't accept Bhagavad Gita, but they accept the Vedas, the 4 Vedas. So in the Vedas we also have, for example, we read the Ishopanishad, because the Upanishads, they are part of the Vedic knowledge. So in the Upanishads, and particularly Ishopanishad, we learn the teachings that there is one Supreme Lord. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnam Ujjachite Purnasya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. That Ishyavashyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatam Tena Chak Tena Bunjata Ma Kridaha Kashatetanam Isha. Isha meaning the Supreme Lord. So Ishopanishad, it's the knowledge about the Supreme Lord. So if we study Krishna consciousness, we're studying here from the Bhagavad Gita, and Lord Krishna is saying that simply by doing devotional service, you will get all the results from studying the Vedas. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated there, Sarvasya chaham hridisa nivisto nataksmitir dhyanam apohanam cha vedeshu durlabam adurlabam. You know the verse? Sarvasya chaham hridisa nivisto nataksmitir dhyanam apohanam cha. Sarvasya aham eva veda vedantakrit eva chaham. By all the Vedas, Krishna says in chapter 15, verse 15, by all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the author and I am the compiler of the Vedas. So the Vedic knowledge is coming from Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna said, Vedeshu Durlabha. By all the Vedas I am to be Vedanta Krit Veda Ved Eva Chaham. He said, I am the author, I am the compiler of the Vedas. By all the Vedas I am to be known. So Lord Krishna, He's speaking the Bhagavad Gita. We can also know Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna is speaking about Bhakti Yoga, about devotion to Himself. And it's coming here in this section of the Bhagavad Gita. So we have to study the Vedas under the guidance of a spiritual teacher. And we have to undergo austerities and penances, living under the care. You know, living under the care of the Guru is not meant for a life of sense gratification. You know, live in the Guru's ashram, you won't sit around watching television every evening. You know, and you'd be expected to wake up early in the morning. Just like in our ashram, you know, everyone is up by 4 o'clock in the morning. And we have our first arti here every morning, 4:30. So, brahmachari does not just mean only single man. Some people think, oh, they're not married, so they're brahmachari. No, brahmachari means you live in the ashram of the Guru. You have to live in the ashram of the Guru and you have to serve under the instructions of the Guru. This is brahmachari life. It's not just only, oh, you don't marry. That's you could say that's somebody he's a single man, right? He's not married. But it's not necessarily brahmachari. Brahmachari means one on the path to Brahman. He wants to understand Brahman. So he practices some discipline in his life. And he undergoes the discipline which is given by the spiritual master. Prabhupada says here, brahmachari, they should go out and beg. So of course here in Hong Kong, you can't do that. That's not allowed to go out and beg, you know. It's not really proper. And I know in Western countries anyway, begging is not allowed. But that's the Vedic culture. In countries where Buddhism is prominent, the Buddhists usually live by begging. But then also they have some restrictions. You know, they have to just simply stand with their bowl and wait. And the people may come and give them something. And Prabhupada said here, if the disciple, he says sometimes the teacher may not call the disciple for food. So if he doesn't call you for food, you don't eat. So we had the instance when this first came out, when we first got this information, one of the devotees, he didn't eat prasadam. So Prabhupada noticed, he said, hey, why are you not taking prasadam? And the devotee said, Prabhupada, you did not call me. So Prabhupada looked at him and said, I'm always calling you. Come and eat prasadam. So, like that. So some of these principles, they have to be understood carefully. So, Prabhupada continues, after the student studies the Vedas under the master for some time, at least from age 5 to 20, he becomes a man of perfect character. So, you know, usually that's when you go to school and get education, you know, from age of 5, you begin education. So, Vedic study also is meant to begin like that, early in life, from the beginning of life, study the Vedas. Prahlad Maharaj said, Kumar acharet pragno dharmam bhagavatamiha. From Kumar, Kumara means 5-year-old child. They should begin to study the Vedic knowledge. And in this way, by the age of 20, they will be a man of perfect character. So study of the Vedas is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculators, but for the formation of character. Some people study the Vedas, maybe they're academic scholars, and they sit in big armchairs and drink glasses of wine and talk about the Vedas. So that is not really the proper mood in studying the Vedas. The real purpose of Vedic study is to cultivate this formation of character, developing control over the mind and the senses. And in this way, we develop a good character. So then Prabhupada continues, after this training, the brahmachari is allowed to enter into household life and marry. So brahmachari is the beginning, student life. Not that you have to remain always a student, but you go on and accept some responsibility and enter into grihastha life. And then Prabhupada said, when he is a householder, he has to perform many sacrifices so that he may achieve further enlightenment. Sacrifice, there are many different sacrifices. And it's the duty of grihasthas to do the yajna. But particularly in the Kali Yuga, the real yajna is Sankirtan. Kali Yuga Dharma Hari Nam Sankirtan. The real yajna in the Kali Yuga is performing Nam Kirtan, Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy name. So that is very powerful in the Kali Yuga. Other yajnas will have a very limited effect and often not very successful. Although people like to do them, they spend a lot of money on doing some big yajna, but very rarely, because the mantras cannot be properly chanted in the Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, we don't have the powerful brahmanas who can recite powerfully the mantras. But Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, can be done by everyone. Just like we saw this evening when you were having arti, everyone practically here was moving and dancing, the children were taking part. Very nice to see everyone involved in this spiritual activity. So then Prabhupada continues, he said, householder life means he must also give charity according to the country, time and candidate, discriminating among charity in goodness, in passion and in ignorance, as described in Bhagavad Gita. So generally, Grihastha life, they're expected to do some kind of charity. And people, when they go begging, generally they will go to people in Grihastha life. Of course, Kali Yuga, it's difficult for people to give charity because they don't earn so much money that they can give charity. So Prabhupada said, according to the country, time and candidate. So everybody, according to their means, you see. Sometimes real charity is to give the holy name, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So when we are performing Sankirtan, that is also charity. We are giving the holy name to people. Another kind of charity, we give prasadam. Another kind of charity, we give people knowledge, we distribute literature. But there's charity also in passion. Charity in passion means we do it to get some name and fame, recognition. And charity in ignorance is where you give money or you give some charity to people who will use it for sinful things. Like somebody may come and beg from you and he goes and buys alcohol or he buys drugs even. So that is charity in ignorance. So everything has to be understood, how to properly use our wealth for the service of the Supreme Lord. So Grihastha life, that is only one part of the life. You enter into family life, we don't remain in that condition. One should move on, and the next stage is called Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means retired life. Literally, the meaning of Vanaprastha is to go and live in the forest. But, you know, here in Hong Kong, it would be, where is the forest, you know? A little difficult in Kali Yuga to find forests. But we have the Krishna conscious centers. And one should come to the Krishna conscious centers and do service there. Particularly after retiring from householder life. Because then you have time. And Prabhupada said, after retiring from householder life, upon accepting the order of Vanaprastha, he undergoes severe penance, living in forests. In the past, in the previous ages, before Kali Yuga, they would live in the forest and they would dress in tree bark, not shaving, etc. They would do these things, you see. Great kings, they accepted Vanaprastha and go to live in the forest. So Prabhupada continues, by carrying out the order of Brahmacharya, householder life, Vanaprastha, and finally sannyasa, one becomes elevated to the perfectional stage of life. Some are then elevated to the heavenly kingdom. And when they become even more advanced, they are liberated in the spiritual sky, either in the impersonal Brahmajyoti or in the Vaikuntha planets or Krishna Loka. This is the path outlined by Vedic literature. The beauty of Krishna consciousness, however, is that by one stroke, by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals of the different orders of life. So just by doing Krishna consciousness, you can get the benefit of all of these things. You know, you could spend so much. You may say, "Oh, I never practiced brahmacharya life. And, oh, you know, I have so many things. I'm not finished with grihastha life. I want to stay in grihastha life. I don't want." But it doesn't matter. Whatever position you're in, just engage in devotional service. That is the important thing. Prabhupada continues, the word idam viditva indicate that one should understand the instructions given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One should try to understand these chapters, not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees. Very important. Chapter 7 through chapter 12 are the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. The first 6 and the last 6 chapters are like coverings of the middle 6 chapters, which are especially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita, especially these middle 6 chapters in the association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penances, sacrifices, charities, speculations, etc. For one can achieve all these results simply by Krishna consciousness. One who has a little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee, because in the beginning of the 4th chapter it is stated clearly that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. One should therefore learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee of Krishna, not from mental speculators. This is a sign of faith. When one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. By advancement in the association of the devotee, one is placed in devotional service. And this service dispels all other misgivings about Krishna or God and Krishna's activities, form, pastimes, name, and other features. After these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one's study. Then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna conscious. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna. This highest perfectional stage of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna's abode in the spiritual sky, Goloka Vrindavan, where the devotee becomes eternally happy. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose to the 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of attaining the Supreme. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would say, Prem Punartha Mahan. The goal of life is to develop love of Krishna. I was talking to a young person the other day and they were telling me that I love Krishna very much. I love Krishna. And so I said, yes, that's very good. But I said, you know, there are some principles also. you're going to love Krishna, you have to follow some principles. And I was telling them that, one thing is, we don't drink tea or coffee. And what? I love tea, I love coffee. I said, but you told me you love Krishna. He said, well, I also love tea and coffee. I said, oh, so your love is mixed then, isn't it? It's not very pure. We want to have pure love for Krishna. Another man told me also how he was a great devotee of Krishna. He said, whenever I drink my cup of tea, I always put a tulsi leaf in the tea. So, like that, people have they have these kind of interpretations, you see. We have to understand everything very carefully from the devotees. So Srila Prabhupada, he was born in a Vaishnava family. His father was a nice devotee of Krishna, and his father brought him up to be a devotee of Krishna from his childhood. And he said also his own guru, his own spiritual master was like that. He was also born in a family of devotees. From his childhood he was taught to be a devotee of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada taught us how to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness according to the Vedic culture. So the Vedic culture is very nice, and it's very practical for people to live according to Vedic culture. Just like we were describing how life is divided. Student life, then married life, then retired life, can go on to renounced life. So, of course, that's external, not very important. What is important for us is simple association. We have to learn to associate regularly with the devotees, and in the association of devotees, their activities will be hearing and chanting about Krishna. Devotees come just to associate together to discuss about Krishna. Just like if you're a lawyer, then they have a lawyer's associate, they'll discuss about cases in the court. Or if you're a businessman, maybe you're a member of the business associate, they'll discuss about the business and the market for the trade. So similarly, in Krishna consciousness, we want spiritual life, we want to hear about Krishna. So coming to associate with devotees is an opportunity for discussing with them. This is described in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna is describing the process of devotion. Matchita madgata prana bodhayantas parasparam katayantas chamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. This is a verse from the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text number 9. There are actually 4 verses there in that section of the 10th chapter, which we call the Chatur Shloki of the Bhagavad Gita. The 4 essences, the 4 verses which summarize like the Bhagavad Gita. So I quoted the 2nd verse. Lord Krishna was describing, he said, "The thoughts of my devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered unto me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me." This is called Abhidaya Jnana. Coming together and enlightening one another and conversing about Krishna. So we try to do this every day here in our Krishna Conscious Center. In the morning, we meet and we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. If you're free in the morning, please come and join us. We begin about 7:40 and we go until about 9 o'clock every morning discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It said there's 18,000 verses there in Srimad. So it can take a lifetime to go through the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, much briefer, only 800 verses. And we discussed it. You can discuss them, you can go through, actually 700 verses, Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses. So within 2 years you can go through the whole Bhagavad Gita, if you do one verse a day. So it's very nice. Or some people like to do a chapter a day. Very good for us to have this kind of practice, hearing from the scriptures. And this is very much the mode of goodness. We want to cultivate mode of goodness. And that will make it easy for us to come to pure goodness. So especially today, it's an auspicious day. It's the first day of Purushottam Mass. Right? Purushottam Mass. It's a time, inauspicious time for material activities. There are no marriages during Purushottam Mass. Nobody will get married in that month. And it's not a good month to open up a business. Not a good month to move into a new house. All material things are not encouraged in this Purushottam Mass. But what is good in Purushottam Mass is devotional service. Hearing, chanting, prayer, offering prayers, worshipping the Lord, doing these different activities. So it's very important, very nice all of you are here today to take advantage. We hope make it a program for 1 month. There are many temples, many places, people make a vow that every day I'm going to come to temple. Every day I'm going to come and see the deity. Every day I'm going to chant, at least for Purushottam month. Because you get special blessings during this month. And as I said, it's not very good for other things. Your material business, we're not cursing you, but just warning you that the Purushottam Mass, things can be difficult like this. Alright? So, are there any questions, anyone? Any comments? Anything? Okay, Yukita?
Let us all thank His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Narasimha Maharaj for a wonderful class. The loud Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
As Maharaj mentioned, devotional service is very important, particularly in this Purushottam Mass. So I was going to make this announcement later, but since we're on the talk, what are the 3 things that we could do in terms of devotional services? One is read the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, Purushottam Yoga. That is where Lord Krishna is going to be informing us all about Himself. How to attain to the Supreme Lord. Right? What is the difference? You look at the sun, you look at the moon. Basically, we're looking at the Lord in a way. He's giving much more deeper information about Himself, guiding us to proceed towards Him. And then the other thing we can do is chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra given by Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Himself. So we can start doing that at least in this Purushottam Mass. And the third thing, as Gurudev mentioned, charity. It's very relevant for all of us because upcoming on the 25th of May, Monday, next week, we have a Festival of Joy being held in the Hong Kong Cultural Center, Piazza, from 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. There, because ISKCON Hong Kong wants to awaken Krishna consciousness within everybody. All walks of life come there. A lot of tourists are there, from mainland China, from internationally as well, from Europe, London, anywhere, America. So this would be a perfect opportunity. Should anyone want to give a charity, please do so for helping ISKCON Hong Kong spreading the name and the glories of the Lord. Over there we will be having a lot of programs. There will be Kathak, Bharatnatyam, on the names of the Lord, and then there'll be book distribution going on, of course, on the glories and details of the Lord as well. And there'll be a lot of other services. So if possible, please definitely do give a charity here. Should you want to do so, please get in touch with me or Devrishi Prabhu. Yeah? And the other important announcement is that please note, next weekend we will not be having a class. Instead, we will have a Kirtan night. Kirtan nights we generally have at every end of the month, but because there are two devotees coming down from India, so we thought, why don't we all relish chanting the Lord's holy name together with the devotees, right? So next weekend we will be having the Kirtan night, and on the 31st of May we will be having a Bhagavad Gita class. Okay, and the remaining announcement later. So let us please proceed with chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Maharaj, she going to lead us on. Will you lead us on?
Yes, yes.
Maharaj will lead us on today, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
We like to chant first of all Panchatattva mantra first. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
Let us all thank His Holiness Bhakti Vijayanaasha Narasimha Maharaj with the loud Hari Bol. Chanting the holy names. Like Maharaj said, Gurudev said, the Purushottam Mass, so 3 things quite important that we can do in this Purushottam Mass. But as Bhakti Vinod Prabhu had explained in his ISKCON family email, the reason we have Adhik Mass, Adhik means extra month, is because every year, 364, 365 days means 1 day is lacking per month. So we have 13 days extra in a year. So in 3 years, we have equivalent to a month. So the Lord has held Purushottam Mass, Adhik Mass. So, like Maharaj said, we can't do anything, no material activity, but spiritual activities, the results we reap is multitude. Great. So again, I repeat, we can read Purushottam Yoga, chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita. We can of course do chanting. If you're not doing chanting, then yes, begin chanting around in this particular month, and then do more rounds if we are already chanting. And the third thing is giving charity. As Maharaj very nicely explained, you can give charity in Satogun, Rajogun and Tamogun. If you want to give in Satogun, we all have a beautiful opportunity now to spread the names and glories of Lord Shri Krishna, because ISKCON Hongkong will be holding the Festival of Joy. So please contribute there, and if you want to do so, again, please get in touch with me or Devrishi Prabhu. Yeah? And today's feast has been sponsored by Anonymous for his birthday. And but one thing I can tell you, they're in ISKCON family, but they wouldn't like their name to be announced. But it's such a, such a great way that people bring up their child, because he's being brought up. Imagine a couple of years ago, I saw his father sitting there and reading out the Shastra, the book, scripture to him and explaining something to him. And his son very nicely nodded, understood. And till today, the whole family comes to ISKCON. It's been 15 years. And the level of appreciation the children hold, it's really very good. They're going to carry forward the culture, the heritage that we all have in our life, being Bharatvasis. So it's that great. So please, let us all deep down in our heart, please wish him a very happy Krishna conscious birthday. And please continue carrying forward with the spiritual life. So everyone, please collect the box on your way out. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful week ahead. Hare Bol.
Please repeat about next Sunday. Announce again.
Haribol, everybody. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please note, next Sunday we will be having the Kirtan night. Kirtan night, instead of the end of the month, we are going to be having it next Sunday, 24th of May. And on the 31st of May, we will have the Bhagavad Gita class instead. So please, most welcome and join us on 24th of May, Sunday, for the Kirtan night. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is like your blessing.
Double blessing.
Double blessing.